Sorry about the long absence. I've had life happen. I'm just gonna leave it at that for now. I'm fine. Work's fine, sort of. There's a few bad things going on. And with the past... Since I did the Art of Gaming for Bioshock Infinite, I've been having a bit of a problem trying to figure out how to follow that up. But I am working on it. I'm just tossed up as to what I'm going to be doing it based on. It's either going to be the horror of gaming, I'm talking about Silent Hill series, Fatal Frame 3, which is my favorite game in that series, Walking Dead, Resident Evil to capacity. Pretty much if there's horror in it, Splatterhouse. If there's horror in it, I'm going to analyze how it works, how it doesn't work. But I do want to do that eventually, at least by next Halloween. Potentially Far Cry 3, but I'm not sure about that yet. At least not at this point. I want to do Far Cry 3 eventually. But it's been a bit of a... There's a lot of issues with doing Far Cry 3. And I think people who've played Far Cry 3 know exactly what I'm talking about. And those who haven't, just look up Citra or Citra, and you'll understand. You will understand where those issues are coming from. As much as I'd like to put an analysis of Far Cry 3, the way the way I'm going with it would make it impossible to put it on YouTube. Which will lead me to another problem I'll get to in a second. I do want to do Dishonored, but I don't know if I'm going to do that next. And then the other big contender for it is L.A. Noire. And I'm playing through it again, and then once I play through it again, since I got him... Okay, when I said life, one of the things that happened was I had to get my disk drive and my PS3 replaced twice. It's a 4-year-old system, and my house is incredibly dusty. We have a wood-burning stove for our primary heat source right now. Well... that didn't help things. And that's kind of part of life that happened. Other things happened involving depression. Yeah. Leave it at that. I'm fine. Everyone in my house is fine. So, we're good. But once I beat L.A. Noire again, I'm going to have to go back and redo the missions, record those, and I'll do that. So, basically, the big 3 contenders are Horror, L.A. Noire, and Dishonored. Oh, that light's going to be a pain in the ass. There we go. Christmas present that my girlfriend got me this year. I love her to death, and not just for this. Damn you, Claire. There's a lot more to the relationship than just, oh, she buys me video games. Trust me. I'm going to see if I can fix the glare in the windows here. Don't mind me. Yes, I am totally rocking a Spider-Man shirt today. So, shall we Dishonored that? That's a perfect segue to how Christmas went, because it's going to be a perfect segue to the review I'm going to do, not looking forward to. Let me put it this way. The people who hated my Last of Us review, that was a game I didn't finish. I never went back to it. And I kind of feel bad. I shouldn't have reviewed it when I did, but I was kind of ranting about... I was ranting about it more than I was reviewing it, but yeah, it was a bit unfair for me to do it like that. This is a game I beat. And I'm going to beat the hell out of it. I'm warning you right now. I'm going to beat the hell out of this game. I am going to beat it like it's a punching bag and I'm Billy Blanks, or Chuck Norris, or a mix of the two. That's... We'll get to that. Now, before I show every other game off, I count this as the prologue because I may have to charge the camera again. I do want to get my blank of the year out of the way. I'm not going to do a big full-blown award thing because there weren't enough games that I liked or hated this year to do it. This year has been very polarizing for me. There's either games I absolutely despised or games that I absolutely loved. Which really made my Game of the Year nominees very difficult to select from, because I had a whopping total of 2. And when I get to them, you'll understand my issue. But, the only caveat on this is the worst game of the year for me. I can't say it's the worst game of the year. I have to say it's the worst game of all time. This makes the E.T. game look good. Ride to Hell Retribution. Yeah. I would love to say worst game of the year, but I'm going to do the Yahtzee Crowshell thing and say worst game of all time. I hate to steal that from him, but I was kind of debating doing that for a bit anyway. Not stealing from him, the all-time thing. And it's just, if there's a game in the world that deserves that title, it is that... I can't think of enough cuss words that would fit it, because every cuss word I think of, or come up with, or even hear George Carlin say, or Lewis Black, or professional cussers, those words are too gentle for how bad this game is. Anyway, that's out of the way. Biggest disappointment of the year was tossed up between Saints Row 4 and Deadpool. The only reason I'm putting Saints Row 4 on there is I wanted to like it, and I liked it in the beginning, but then it got really, really stale, and I could attribute it to it being this. You get your superpowers way too soon, and you get way too powerful way too fast. That isn't as big as a kick in the groin as Deadpool. First 3 missions in Deadpool are brilliant. The last few missions, the last missions, or every other mission following those first 3, tedium, boring, and just... It's Deadpool's sense of humor with the lines, but not the game. The game does not fit the character after the first 3 levels. So that's my biggest disappointment of the year. I'm going to spoil a bit of the Christmas surprise here, but my shooter of the year... Oh, come on, Glare. There we go. I'm not even just picking this because of graphics. I'm picking this because... Well, you shouldn't pick a game because of graphics. I'm going to say that right now. Because if the gameplay in Battlefield 4 was dull, I would have gone to Call of Duty Ghosts, and believe me, I would have had to torture myself before I even gave it the Shooter of the Year title to a Call of Duty game. Trust me, I'm not saying Call of Duty games are bad, I'm just saying they're good if you want to turn your brain off. And I'm not a multiplayer player at all. So, in Call of Duty Ghosts, yeah, you have to kind of turn your brain off for it. I'm not going to lie. I like it, but it's mindless. Battlefield 4 is visually impressive. I don't know why people are beating the single player up, because I love the single player in it. It's a bit on the short side, but it's fun. The only complaint I have about Battlefield 4 is I don't use the engage thing because it kind of defeats the purpose of playing the game to me, but I appreciate the fact that the option's there. It does add a tactical option to it. And it's seriously the only shooter this year that has truly blown me away. Now, first-person shooter. Except for one, and I'll get to that in a second. The only reason I'm not giving that one Shooter of the Year is because I'm not counting that as a Shooter of the Year. If that makes any sense whatsoever. I'm not counting the game as a shooter. There's so many levels to it. Now, best third-person game of the year has to be Grand Theft Auto 5. has to be, like, hands down. And the reason it has to be for me, that's about the only third-person shooter game this year that I truly, truly enjoyed. I think I had 2 issues with it, and that was... and they're connected to the same thing. The issues I had with GTA 5 were the plane controls. I hated the helicopter parts, and I hated the flying parts. That's it. Everything else was great. I'm still not as big of a Trevor fan as everyone thinks I should be. Actually, my favorite character is Michael. And then Franklin. And... there he is! I think my guinea pig is either sneezing or laughing at my options here. But... there's a long list before Trevor. But it's Michael, Franklin, and then Danny Tamborelli's character. Just for the sheer fact that he teabags his dad accidentally. That was the funniest part I've... because it's not true at all. It's not... it's so ridiculous, but it's well done. Now, this leads me to my game of the year. Now, wait. I did disappointment. I can't remember if I did worst game of the year. Oh yeah, I didn't do it because I'm going to review it. My favorite game of the year was tossed up between GTA 5 and BioShock Infinite. And the only reason I wasn't tossed up for the rest of the year like I was with Far Cry 3 and Dishonored is because there's one thing that separates BioShock Infinite from GTA 5 and every other first-person shooter I've played. You know the, first episode I did of The Art of Gaming, you know, the only one that's up? Yeah, I barely scratched the surface of what you can talk about thematically with that game. That's why I don't count it as a shooter. It's a philosophy teacher. It's a... well, not teacher, but... it's philosophy. It's fighting. It's war. It's... trying not to spoil it in this video in case you haven't seen the other one. It's religion. It's all these things. Patriotism. Civil war. Racism. All these things. And then once you talk about all those, you find something else that supports a theme that you don't know about until the end of the game. Something as minor as a song played in the beginning of the game is important because of the end of the game. That's how you write a game, people! That... oh my god! BioShock Infinite is probably the best story I've played in gaming. I'm not exaggerating. That is my opinion, is BioShock Infinite is the best story in gaming right now. Not because, oh wow, that story was interesting, but because it's so open-ended, so much to talk about. Well, not open-ended, but there's so much to talk about because of how the nature of the story, because of the context of it, because of what it's about. Wow! I hope to God people look at this game, and I'm not saying every game should be like this. Trust me, Battlefield 4 as a BioShock Infinite style game with all this philosophy and stuff could be interesting. I think it was called Spec Ops: The Line, but not to the extreme as BioShock Infinite. But I wouldn't change Battlefield or Call of Duty for the life of me. They're good games in their own regard. Make an original IP that explores multiple themes like this. That's how you do it. I want to see a horror game like this. I want to see a comedy game like this. I want to see games that make people think, not just about gameplay, but about their decisions, about the story, about their lives, about everyone else, about the nature of selfishness, greed, apathy, as well as the nature of religion, the nature of going to war in the first place, or fighting for what you believe in, or sitting there going, well, why should I fight? Explore the nature of what would be really interesting is misogyny or misandry. Explore the nature of feminism as humanism or an extreme. Explore the nature... This is... BioShock Infinite is what we should be doing now to move forward with video games as an art form. I mean, you could even argue that with The Walking Dead, The Wolf Among Us, which is a phenomenal game in its own right, but I don't want to give that Game of the Year until the whole series is complete, well, the first season. Yeah, BioShock Infinite, far and away. Definitely Game of the Year for 2013. Now, this is where it's going to get a bit complicated. Now, I already kind of blew Battlefield 4 as one of my gifts. Wolf Among Us was actually a gift I got from my girlfriend, and I played it. And I'm not going to review it. What I am going to say is, if you haven't played it, even if you don't like Fables, play it. It's really good. It's not Walking Dead good, but it's really good. I haven't done Season 2 of The Walking Dead yet. I haven't even done 400 Days yet, but I'll get to that. The other gaming gift I got was actually Ghosts. Got that from another friend. From my best friend and my girlfriend, they kind of teamed up, got this for me and my roommate once she gets a PS3. Yeah, this made me all kinds of happy. It made me very, very much kinds of happy. And then this is something I got for myself. I deliberately got it for myself because I didn't want anyone to feel bad. I played the demo for this and wasn't impressed, and I heard, oh, well, the main game's better than the demo. Try me. Since I'm going to have to separate it here and charge my camera up a bit, I'm only going to give you a hint as much as I can. Yeah, that's a little bit of a hint if you're familiar with cover art. Stay tuned, but be warned. I'm going to, I am going to beat this game like it's a nail and a plank, and I'm a fucking hammer in the hands of a guy with very, very bad aim. Yeah. Stay tuned.